Good afternoon and happy Valentine's Day. I'm wearing my lucky sweatshirt for my Valentine, my kiddo. It's kind of cool that she picked this out because, since she was born, I would sing Forever Young by Rod Stewart to her before bedtime. I still do. She sings along with me now. But this shirt actually says Forever Young, so I thought that was pretty precious. But wherever you are in the world today, especially if you um, uh, practice the Valentine's holiday, happy Valentine's Day. I hope you enjoy and are surrounded by loved ones. All right. Oh, this afternoon I'm going to take a little time and draw it out a bit because I love making soups from scratch. Uh, and so it's been a while since I've been doing a lot of quick prepare, pre cooking, especially being sick. But now I'm going to take it back into the realm where I certainly prefer. So I've been doing a little bit of prepping in the background. This is a German potato soup recipe that my auntie gave me a few years back. It is delicious. The flavor profile, particularly the seasonings, marjoram is used as well, and that's not something I use super often, but I do love the flavor. I'm going to be adding, let's see, bacon as well as some brats that I pre-cooked, some onion, garlic. It asks for new potatoes, but I had russets, so I'm going to use russets this time around. And we use leek, carrot, celery, some diced tomatoes, canned, not fresh, but fresh would be delicious, I'm sure. Some chicken broth, and then the seasonings are thyme, rosemary, marjoram, salt, pepper, and a bay leaf, and then you finish it off with some chopped parsley at the end, but I'm going to be using some dried parsley. So I've already started prepping certain pieces. I had a lovely leek a week ago, and so I chopped up what I didn't use and froze it. So there's the leek ready to go in. So I'm just gonna get to chopping and cooking. Apparently have a little sublime in the background too. So let's get to it, shall we? This sublime reminds me of high school, and I have not thought about this album in many years. It is another cold day in the Pacific Northwest, on the west side anyway. We did get snow overnight, but I am from Utah, so this is snow, but it's not substantial. It's enough to make people nervous, though, so they had another late start to the school day today. But I have a feeling, regardless of what happens today at school, will be enjoyable for my kiddo. Because she does love Valentine's Day. She was so plucky this morning because we got to sleep in a little bit because school started at 11. And so she woke up before me, was all dressed and ready to go, actually brought me some breakfast in bed and asked why I was still in bed. But honestly, I love listening to her in the mornings. I love that she is so comfortable in her own house, and independent even at her young age, to be able to do a lot of things for herself. But I think she got a kick out of bringing me breakfast in bed versus the other way around. So we played a board game with the balance of time after breakfast, and then off to school and a variety of little parties. Okay. Something I am also doing as I do more scratch cooking right now, I am very well aware that there are supply chain as well as growing farming issues happening all over the world right now for a lot of very big reasons. Kind of just seeing the writing on the wall, I just have a bit of a feeling that being able to make certain things from fresh ingredients, I hate to say it, but it might be a bit of a luxury for a little while. Hopefully it doesn't last long. So that's why I'm taking it slow, because I'm appreciating it and making memories as I go. I love fresh food, and I will take full advantage of it whenever possible, but yeah, given these food shortages, not just the expense, because money is well spent on food, healthy food, but that alone is something to keep in mind. It's an exercise in gratitude for me to cook fresh and healthy. I have backup plans like I'll get out. I had a lot of experience in the kitchen, so that is part of the reason why I make these videos, is for folks who may not have as much experience with cooking or need some ideas, especially with some simple types of ingredients that are common and cost effective. So hopefully you can glean some of that from these videos. Not to mention they're super fun to do. The only living creatures in my kitchen right now are myself and my cat, and it feels great to have some folks hanging out in the kitchen as well. I can totally see with the state of the fresh ingredients that I am getting, they're not, it's old. You can tell by the feel of it. They're a little mangled, these carrots. They're organic carrots. I bought them a week ago, and already I'm starting to see them going downhill. So my plan is to basically use up the fresh ingredients that I have, and when I buy in the future, it seems I can't hold on to things as long as I typically have been able to. So I will just adjust the way I roll in the kitchen. Keep that fresh goodness going. Oh, thank you for joining me, folks. Rushbaz, nice to meet you. We are making German potato soup. It's a yummy combination of brats and bacon and fresh veggies, lovely seasonings. It's quite hearty and delicious. Oh, and hi, Riley. Happy Valentine's Day to you, too. Thank you for that. I should have looked it up, but I'm curious about whether or not Valentine's Day is practiced in other parts of the world. I know in a lot of English-speaking countries, you certainly hear about it. But how do you practice Valentine's Day in your neck of the woods? I'd love to hear about that. This is also a soup that is far superior the next day. It's delicious to make in advance, or it's wonderful to make in advance. So my thought process was prepare it today for a nice hearty lunch tomorrow. And after I'm done here, I'm going to curl up in front of a chick flick. do a little Valentine's Day hurrah earlier in the day, since now is when I have some time. Whoa! Right, rock. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun. I've been listening to a lot of classical music, so it's nice to have a little rock in the house this afternoon. Woo! Little russets. Yeah, we'll kind of change the soup a little bit. You know, russets are a little starchier than new potatoes. I was gonna say I prefer new potatoes, but I can't really say that. I think there's a potato for every meal, and it adds its own beauty.
We're on the ride with you. Stand up to the insurance companies. Tell them you're with Dubin and get the compensation you deserve. Find us at DubinLawGroup.com. Dubin Law. Tough, reliable, human.
Don't miss Rich's President's Day sale. Rich's pays your sales tax.
Gosh, folks in Texas, all the way up through into Tennessee and Kentucky, you folks have been on my mind, certainly, with extreme weather that's been happening. Sure hope you and your families weather that well. 'Tis the season, definitely, for more extreme weather, but my gosh, extreme takes it's just taken on a whole new meaning in these last few years.
Fresh for everyone.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by.
Okay.
Grainger, the ones who get it done. Packaged in Peru, is certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. It's a funny, heartwarming, and delightful adventure for the whole family. Very much. Packaged in Peru, PG-13.
Ooh.
Now play.
If you feel like owning a home is out of reach,
Oh, thank you
here to give you back the key.
for all the emojis.
Everyone deserves a shot at the American
Aki
dream.
Maverick.
Own the dream. Visit rocket.com. That's rocket.com.
Where's home, folks?
Dave can't stop celebrating. Every business owner in town. All right, Baker. Sharing the excitement of big savings with the Comcast Business 5-year price lock guarantee. Up top, Mike Shop. It's 5 years.
You may notice I'm using a paring knife. May sound silly, and honestly, it kind of just came down to this. For years, I've used a butcher knife to, large butcher knife to chop, and sort through that business. But as my hands have gotten older and a little bit more tired, I have been finding myself using the paring knife. It accomplishes the same person. It's not quite as heavy. I am not a chef. I'm not a trained chef, and I have very, very basic knife skills despite all the practice chopping over these years. But this just works for me. This is my all-around favorite all-purpose knife. Good for all purposes. I saw something really neat. I think it was, 2 summers ago? It was a lady cooking traditional and nomadic dish. I want to say she was in Afghanistan, and they had these really neat, actually it was India, come to think of it. But it was like some sort of a wooden base with a curved knife on top. And instead of chopping vegetables, doing the cutting board, this type of thing, she literally would just pull the vegetables, onions too, like everything, against this knife, and then let it, collect in the bowl below. And I thought, gosh, that's an incredible invention. Yeah. I don't know what it was called, though, but it was certainly interesting. I knew there had to be another way that this has been done throughout history, because cutting board and a knife, even a butcher's knife, seems like a more recent type of thing. I think big giant knife for every purpose was probably more likely in a lot of ways. Okay. Yeah, again, new onion, but it feels kind of old. As we go into these times of food shortages, I wish you the best. It's hard to go without things that you are traditionally used to. Change can be a little intimidating sometimes. It's not super easy to change your flavors, but if you consider all the variety that we have in our modern day, it's pretty remarkable, and I think often taken for granted. I know a lot of people, for many reasons, are perhaps used to fast food, to eating out at restaurants. And no, this is, of course, still happening, but at the same time, there was a time in recent history, and still in parts of the world now, where people eat the same thing every day, and they don't eat 3 meals a day. They kind of, there are a lot of different ways to go about it. So I count my blessings that we're able to enjoy so much variety, and with ingredients, with their the nutrition involved. That's really what the purpose of food is. Flavor is a nice to have, but gosh, it's not the most important part. The most important part is the nutrition that it renders, and there's a lot of crossover with ingredients that provide the same kind of nutrition. So you want vitamin C. and you don't want to go the orange juice route even though you're used to it, well, start eating some greens, leafy green vegetables, and dark green particularly. And there you go, vitamin C, one of the best types of ways of taking vitamin C that's not artificial, that's best for your body, plus all the other benefits as well. So, just some things to keep in mind. All right, let's go ahead and get started on this bacon. I'm going to do this so I can chop up my brats. Again, I parboiled these yesterday. Easy to chop. They're cold. And I'm also going to sort through this bacon as well. So I'm going to add these brats at the end. Oh, there we go. Wow. Gosh, this brings back memories. Not a concert or anything. I was too young when this song came out to go to concerts, but I certainly remember this from MTV. So with the bacon, I defrosted 16 ounces, but I am actually going to reserve 8 ounces for some fettuccine carbonara this weekend. I thought that would make for a nice lunch. I actually am going to further set aside some bacon to go with some beautiful Brussels sprouts that I found the other day. That was super fun for me to I love Brussels sprouts, and gosh, you add bacon and that's the magic right there. Woo! I just put a little bit of olive oil in there. It's very fatty bacon. Goodness. Yeah, just the quality of food is noticeably different. I don't quite understand why. I know I can understand supply chain a little bit, and you know, as I understand, there's just everything's garbled and bungled no matter where it is. A lot of fresh foods being imported into the country have been held up in shipping containers and rotting in place, and I just do not understand why red tape prevents, well, it's fuel costs too, you know, who knows, a lot of different reasons for it, but I just don't understand why it can't be figured out to keep food in the food chain. Letting it just rot in place doesn't make any sense on any level. I know the severe weather that we've been having all over the world issues with fertilizer used to grow or used for the fields, diseases, animals, a lot of different reasons why there are problems right now. This is going to be a little bit more bacon flavor. I am not, let's see here. It's a little meatier. That'll be decent for the carbonara. This is mostly just fat. I don't want to come across as complaining about this. Supply chain issues and food issues. It is literally more so just deep concern about the state of our food supply, deep concern with people who are going hungry. It is definitely in the forefront of my mind, especially as a teacher. Children and their families, you know, they're growing right now. Their bodies are, what they take into their bodies at these young ages makes a difference for their health, for their lifetime, and it's not something to mess about with. Certainly not when profit or savings, you know, on the part of the producer is the primary driver behind it. I have very, very strong opinions about that, but I will not necessarily share right now. I think in history it has certainly been more difficult as well. So, even so, it is the year 2025. Praying that humanitarian work continues. Love to see it return, the human element of living. Go ahead and add the onion, one full onion. And since the brat's cooked already, I'm going to keep it to the side and add it once the other ingredients have been added and get started. Oh wow, music is going back into the catalog. When I turned on the radio, the B-52s were on. I was so stoked to have seen them in concert. I think it was in 2007. And same with Tears for Fears. I got to see them as well. In fact, I think Tears for Fears was my first concert. The first concert I attended after I moved to Seattle. Excuse me. Oh, that smells wonderful. We just want to soften the onions at this point. Again, I'm just a skosh over medium heat. You know, right about medium high heat. And I am going to leave the oil in there, or the bacon grease in there. We'll add something. That's a lot of oil. I actually don't want that much oil in there. Just a second, drain this business off here. There we go. Little Nirvana. And we're going to go ahead and add 1 teaspoon of minced garlic. This you want to go gently on towards the end because you don't want to burn the garlic. I'm just going to give it a little stir. Add, there it is. 6 cups of chicken broth. Nirvana. That takes me back to 7th grade. When I first met Nirvana, or learned about them. I was a surfer in years past, and the surf break that I went to, you pass through Aberdeen, where Kurt Cobain was born and lived. You pass through there to get to Westport, and so I've never gone in, but I've passed by Kurt Cobain's house. And I do love when you pull into Aberdeen, the sign says "Come as you are." I did hear, I don't know if it's true, but I did hear that's where he came up with that song title, "Come as You Are." Okay, so we have the 6 cups chicken broth that's gone in. So what we have going in here now 2 pounds of peeled diced potatoes, 1 sliced leek, 3 carrots sliced, a 1/4 cup of sliced celery. Woo! I love the flavor of leeks too. I am always looking for ways to use leeks. Mmm. Does that look beautiful? Okay. And last but not least, 2 cans of diced tomatoes with the juice. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. See how hearty it is? And just give it a stir. Mm. The leeks were frozen, so it's just going to take a minute. We're going to bring this to a boil, but while we're waiting here, I'll go ahead and add the seasonings. We want 3/4 teaspoon of salt. Teaspoon of ground black pepper. Okay, half a teaspoon of thyme. Oh, time for my new jar of thyme. I am so glad that I'm going to go ahead and just add that. I am so glad that I upped my seasonings, or re-upped my seasonings. I won't need to worry about some of these seasonings again for at least a year. Margarine or rosemary, half a teaspoon. Yum. I wish I had better light at this apartment, and I would grow some seasonings, but we just don't get equal light. And honestly, I'm not confident that my cat will stay away from it. He is quite a curious cat. Half a teaspoon of marjoram. And 1 bay leaf. So there we go. So yeah, you look at the state of things, you know, even the seasonings, you definitely see it. Things just, plants have not been healthy for a long time, because what I am getting right now was grown and preserved quite a while back. So the stuff that's going on, it's not new, it's just in our attention, or to our attention now. All right. So I'm going to add the parsley at the very end. I'm going to add, let's see, a tablespoon or 2 of dried parsley. If you have fresh, you want to use about a 1/4 cup. So let's go ahead and bring that to a boil. Add the brats, double meat happening. Down. Right? I think I'm feeling a little spry. I'll probably try to make some brochin to go with this. We shall see. Getting back into the bread baking. Maybe I'll do a little video on that later. Let's bring this business up to temp. time. Where are you? See? Queen in the house. Somebody find me. All right. Ooh, that's going to look good. I probably will do a little short. Oh, that smells magnificent too. I'll do a little bit of a short so you can see what the consistency gets like. The russet potatoes, because they're a little starchier, it might get a little thicker than before. But in general, it is a lovely soup to use some nice crusty bread, sop up that broth goodness. But thank you for joining me today. And again, I wish you a happy Valentine's Day and good health, well-being, and happiness. And we shall see you again soon.